Woo! Yes. Yes. Wow, it's a little bit weird. All right. Yeah, I think that's right. All righty. Yes, guys. Yes. What is this? Yes, guys. Welcome to Vice Versa Live. Wow. I actually cannot believe we are on the precipice of April, and it's flown by. I just want to thank each and every single person who's here already, and people on their way for coming. Today is going to be a fantastic show, and I'm going to be sharing my 5 top interview questions I believe that always come up, and I will be showing you how you can handle it and how you can overcome and excel. I hope every single person here who generally comes has been having a fantastic week. For those of you who are new, you are most welcome. And if you haven't already, you know what to do. Please hit the like and subscribe button. That's there for you. All righty. Also other links, they're on the little banner strip below. So please do follow us on all social media platforms at Vice Versa Talent. It's quite easy to remember. So the clocks have gone forward. It's daylight. And yeah, I mean, it's good. I should see more of you here because there should be no excuse of, early nights. So I'm hoping to see more numbers. But we'll just get right to it. So what was I discussing last week? Award-winning body language. And I was really going in on that. So if you haven't, do check that video out because it is really, really good. As I really talk about how your body, how your voice, how your hands, how your face, your expression plays a massive influence on the employer. It is scientifically proven that 93% of communication is nonverbal. So it's very, very important that, that you are practicing, your body language, and you are practicing how you can go about influencing and I guess accentuating the things that you're saying to the employer, but not just to the employer, but practicing it with your friends, your family, your loved ones, because it's really gonna help you in the long term. So I actually wanted to share something today. Some comments in. Yo, come on. So yeah, I actually want to share some comments, and this is generally around the mindset. As I talk a lot about that because you generally do need to have quite a strong mindset, especially when you're going into an interview, and you kind of need to get to the essence of what it is. And then once you've got that foundation, then you can build stuff off, and it's quite easy to do that. And I really talk about going into interview almost like you're going to like war or going to a battle. But to be honest with you, this is the epicenter of that, and it's this famous quote by JFK. It's ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Now, this is one of my favorite quotes, as it really shows, the two different kinds of people. You've got the people that's it's all about me, it's all about me, it's all about me. But then there's the other set of people that is the givers. And when JFK is talking about here is, the person who is just focused on just taking, as opposed to being the solution and taking responsibility and adding. And obviously when you add and when you give and you serve, ultimately, you're serving yourself. So if we was to actually put this into this context of an interview, ask not what the company is going to give you. Your start should be, what are you going to give to the company? And that should be the foundation of everything you build on going into that interview. That has to be your stance. If that is not your stance, you're not going to get that job. You're not going to get it. If you do, then you're very, very skilled. But honestly, every job interview that I've gone through and just my experience, just, getting through interviews and getting more and more jobs, it's always come from a place of, how can I serve you and what it is that you need for me to fill so that you can achieve your goal, and that you achieving your goal, you're going to monetize me for my skills and experience. So really do pay attention to that and really get that into your mind, especially in preparation of going towards your interview. So I want to get right into it. Also, as always, at the end, I do a live Q&A. So please do get your questions in as early as possible, because there is a lag on the comments that I can see on my end. So do get it in early, so that towards the end of the presentation, I can go back and I could then just answer accordingly. So this one here, and I've got my notes here. Woo! Tell me about yourself. Now, this one is a common one, and most people they kind of waffle on this one a lot, generally because they don't really know how to really answer it, and if they do answer it, they're answering it wrong. So how I would go about doing it is by this process. So you want to firstly be able to sell yourself as a personality, as just you, because ideally, when they ask you to when they're asking you to tell me or tell you about them, or tell you, you know what I mean. When they're asking you, you need to be able to sell yourself, sell your personality, sell your soft skills, which I've mentioned before. You want to be able to sell the benefits of you being there. That's generally that question that you want to highlight. You want to be able to sell the benefits of you being in that company and what you can bring. Ultimately, if you don't know those things, I would say go to the job description, like I've done in previous videos, and you want to take the keywords. Once you take the keywords, you can be able to write it out. Like I would say to, just my own preparation when I go into interviews, I write out every single thing and I memorize every single thing. I don't go in there I'm just going to wing it. I don't leave it to chance. That's very, very risky. And I wouldn't do that at all. Make sure that when you are doing it, like I said, if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. You want to go in there prepared as much as you can. So you need to make sure you write out, all the potential questions that could come and all the potential and write the answers for those questions that that could come, which is why we're going through this. So yes, highlight your soft skills, your personality traits, talk about your current role where you're currently working, and the basic outline of what it is that you're doing there. And then you want to close on why you feel that you are the best candidate for the role you're interviewing for. That is how you close that question. So you want to talk about your personality traits. 2, you want to talk about the soft skills that you have, i.e. taking out of the job description, those keywords, put it in there. 3, you want to talk about your current role. And number 4, you want to close on why you feel that you are the best person for that role. And that is how I would answer that question. So I hope that helps. And we're going to move on to this question. And this question is one that I don't know how many candidates I've spoken to, and it's the same thing. What do you consider to be your weaknesses? Or the same thing that, be worded a little bit differently. What are your weaknesses? Now, that question is, it always throws people off if you're not prepared, because genuinely it can be a trick one. It's like my weaknesses, but like if I say my weaknesses, then I'm going to be like, I'm going to look like an idiot. But the idea isn't for you to look like an idiot or you to feel kind of less than them or feel bad. It's more of a thing that they want to see, that you're able to identify areas that you need to be upskilled in, and areas of improvement that you need. But you need to be able to spin it. And I've got some things here that you can use when answering this question. So the first thing I want to rule out is the number one thing that all people say, and the cliche is, I'm a perfectionist, and I get too involved in my work. That's been overused. It's absolutely rubbish. Like, don't ever use that one, because it doesn't really. It's been overused, and like most hiring managers, they know that. So I would say definitely not use that one. What you want to do is you want to be able to show weaknesses that you can turn, and that shows that adds value to the company. So here are some examples that I've created. So you could use stuff like, my weaknesses are, I'm not really strong with social media. I'm not really strong around areas around mental health or diversity and inclusion, or public speaking, or anything to do with software or apps. Why do I say these 5 things? The reason why I say these 5 things is because these generally are the things that affect the culture of the company. They affect the efficiency of the company. They affect the actual sales process in the company, and ultimately, it's going to lead them to potentially go even further to reach their goals. So if you're saying, for example, I'm unaware of social media, and then you said, and then you want to demonstrate how you able to improve that. So, I went on a course, I did something on LinkedIn, or I went to, a social media guru. And because of that, I was able to do this, and that. And ultimately, it led to this many amount of sales. Or you could use mental health. I went on a mental health course because I didn't know much about mental health. And I spoke to someone, and they gave me some advice and some things. I went back to work, and I then implemented this into my team, into this, and it was amazing how many people opened up, and it changed this. Like, these kind of things. Woo! Trust me, if you say those things, they're gonna be like, we need to get this guy. We need to get into the company. Because it's not only showing that, okay, you understand weaknesses, but you're able to turn that around to add value to where you are. And ultimately, that's going to tell them that you're going to do the exact same thing at the company you're applying for. And yes, just in closing to that, just really highlight how you overcame your weaknesses, either going on a course, a short course, or just doing some research, whatever it is, you're able to show that. Firstly, identify, see the value, and then 3, how you overcame that and added the value. And that's what you want to do when answering that question. So again, those 5 things, that's what you want to say in regards to weaknesses. That would be really, really good. The next question. Guys, again, if you haven't already, please do pop questions in the comments, as that's really going to help me towards the end, because it helps that smooth fluidity, so that I'm able to answer that quickly and I don't miss anyone's comments. Fantastic. So tell me about a challenge or conflict you have faced and how you dealt with it. This is a really, really good and common question that comes up. So let me tell you what I've written. So for this one, you're gonna have to use STAR. I hope some of you guys are familiar with the STAR technique, and it's as simple as situation, the task, the action, and the result. Those 4 things are basically the steps of how you can go about answering that question. Now, what you really want to highlight, especially when answering this question, is you want to really talk about how you what the kind of challenge was, but more so kind of how you felt. And the reason why I say that is because this question doesn't only demonstrate how you handle, kind of tense situations, but it also wants to see your temperament and your analytical skills. So you want to talk about not only the story, the situation, what's happened, but you want to talk about how you felt in that situation, and really demonstrate how you use your analytical skills to assess and act, and what the result was from that. You also want to be able to really home on to the resolution. Now, the resolution is obviously the result, but you really want to talk about those steps on what you did and how you overcame that. And that's really gonna really show the person that you've really thought about what it is that happened in that situation, and also, the confidence that you took and the temperament that you took to actually, get that solution implemented. I would say also you would want to leave it open for the hiring manager to ask questions. Generally this kind of goes on, it can kind of go on as the recruiter likes to, open and, embellish it more. So to get more of an understanding and more how you were feeling, and, what were the effects of that situation, not just on you, but obviously on the workforce as a whole. So, and that really is going to paint the picture, because that's what's really good about the STAR, because the STAR is you basically explaining the story and almost allowing guiding the recruiter, guiding the recruiter, the hiring manager, to look at the exact same photo or picture as if they were there with you. And that's what you want to do, especially when answering that question. So make sure you prepare for that question. Make sure you have an example ready, as that would really help and really allow you to really slow it down. And then once you have that story, you can really add on and really add a little bit and make it bigger and make it, a Hollywood movie. Do you know what I mean? And really take it home. Because if you try and go in there cold, trust me, you're not gonna get the right effect that you want. So yeah. The next question. Woo! Tell me about a time you failed. I think this again is a common one, and is one that can be quite difficult. Very similar to the your weaknesses. Highlight to me what your weaknesses are. It's very similar, but this one is very, very different. As I feel it's more about your experience with failure and how you handled it. So I would use the STAR situation. I would use the STAR format for this question, but the result doesn't have to be one that is, oh yes, the team won and we hit target. It's more, how did you handle failure and what is your perception of failure afterwards? That's the result that you want to really highlight in the result part of the STAR format. So how I would answer this question is firstly define what failure is. So I had some examples where it could be, failure is, how I see failure is when me not closing deals, or, a client walking away, or a client not renewing their contract. That's how you can start. And that really sets the tone for the employer to see, again, what it is see the picture that you're painting, and then you can go through the steps. And then I would go on to, add the story, add the situation, add the context and layers to it, and how, what kind of things you did, and what was the story, and I guess what actions you took, and how did it come to failure, and how did you feel, and I guess what would you do differently now going through that situation? And that is how you want to answer that question. Again, this question is really wants to highlight your self-awareness. It's going to highlight your vulnerability, but it also is going to be able to show a different side of your personality, which ultimately that's what the recruiter wants to see. I was on a call earlier this afternoon with another recruiter, and there was a really good panel there, and there was the main HR manager for Audi, and she's basically saying how just going through CVs or applications since December of last year, this lady has gone through over 55,000 applications. And for her, she was just basically going on to say, after going through 55,000 applications, and that's still ongoing, might I add, and to go through the interview process, it's the personalities that they want to see. It's the personalities that they are looking to, really extract from the interview. So this question is a question that is really wants to, really get that out of you, to really see, who you really are. As it is difficult in an interview, but the idea of the interview is to have that discussion and really get that connection, which I've been constantly saying throughout these videos, and I will go on further in closing. Fantastic. I see some comments coming through. That's it. That's what I like to see. And then my final and fifth one is, what can you bring to the company? Now, what I think with this one is again, this is another sales type question that is you selling yourself. You really want to really home on this one. But I would say, firstly, when it comes to this one, what you want to do is you want to do research on the company, whether it's new products, new services, new solutions, things that they're involved in, their values, all of those things. You want to bring that to this part, because you want to be able to show what is currently there. And then you want to be able to be like, I'm very much interested in this, or I am very much interested in that, whilst selling yourself as, I'm resilient. I have emotional intelligence. I am creative. I am a problem solver. I am competitive. All of those things you want to say, they are great, but everyone else is saying those things. What you want to do is you want to get those traits, match it with what they're already doing, or from your research, what they are missing. Because if you can do that, whoa, trust me, you're going to really position yourself differently from the other candidates. And that's what you want to do. But you need to do the research, because without the research, you kind of go in there blind. And, and without the research, it's very difficult for you to identify where the value is needed. Not unless it's as simple as a sales role, which is you make them money. Do you know what I mean? If it's another role that's not as, binary as that, then, it's going to be challenge. It's going to be a challenge without actually looking and researching about the company. And so that kind of goes on to, what I was saying before in the previous question, just about having, just the interview process. The interview process should actually be a fun one. It should be one where it's almost like you're getting to know someone, they're getting to know you. And of course, interviews can be stressful. They can be daunting. But I think that if you don't prepare, that is where you can start to feel that way. If you go in fully prepared, you have your answers, you've researched the role. Please, guys, I didn't say it before, but please Google your role and interview questions for that role, and then answer it. Get your examples, use the STAR format, and get those things locked down so that when you go in there, you're going there confident, your head is high, your chin is high, your chest is up, your shoulders are relaxed, and you're able to really express yourself, which is what you want to do, and able to have that conversation. If you don't prepare, it's going to be very difficult to do that, and you're going to feel it. It's something that you feel, that it's like the energy. It's none of that. It's none of that at all. So please, guys, prepare to win. Don't prepare to fail. So I'm going to go in here and see these questions. Fantastic. Let's see this. All right. Since you talk about a challenge you faced at work overcome, would then invite the hiring manager for any advice and how you dealt with your situation? Let me read it again. Once you answer, talk about challenge you faced at work and overcame using STAR, would you then invite the hiring manager for any advice with your situation? Yes, you could. I mean, that's something you could ask, especially if, at the back of that, you're having a conversation, then yeah, of course you can ask, the hiring manager for advice on how, they would have dealt with that situation, of course, because then I guess you get that's a good way of gauging where they have kind of understood your story, which is smart, to be honest, because you can kind of gauge where they are, and then if there's any gaps that you see in their story where they appear to be not really with you, you can then answer that question and double back on yourself. So that is a good question to ask, but you can only ask that question if they set it up. It'll be very difficult for you to be like, oh, so what would you do? Because they're interviewing you, you're not interviewing them. So that's what I would say on that one. Okay, fantastic. What's a good question to ask at the end of the interview? I would say a good question to ask is, I guess during COVID and the effects, where is the team now? Where is the team now, and what do you feel is missing? That will give you a general idea on, I guess, the kind of culture post-COVID or during COVID, wherever we are now. And it's also going to be able to tell you where the gaps are in terms of what they need. And again, that can give you the opportunity to, again, double back on yourself, and then, reaffirm where they are, reaffirm them of your stance and the qualities that you bring, so that it kind of irons out anything that they have in their head that wasn't already answered already. So yeah, I hope that helps, Peter. Are there any other questions? I don't know where we are in terms of time. Okay. We're doing good for time. Is there anything else that I want to add regarding interview questions? Definitely, like Google. I said that, Google in the roles. I think another stance that you want to take is not only getting your examples right. You want to be able to bring achievements. Achievements is something you want to bring to your interview. I should have put another one as well. There's another question that they always ask. If anyone is going to interview, always make sure you have your CV to hand. Oh my gosh, I've been to interviews where the employer's like, so Simon, run me through your CV, and I don't have my CV. It's unprofessional. I would say to anyone, if you are going for interview, make sure you have your CV printed. If you don't have your CV printed, at least have a tablet. If you don't have a tablet, I think it's a little bit unprofessional when you're having it on your phone and scrolling because it doesn't look good. If you have a tablet, at least that's, up-to-date professionalism. But yeah, don't go in there with your phone. And make sure you know your CV inside out, really highlighting your achievements. That stuff you should also be trying to memorize as much as possible. So we have another question here. Okay. Yes, I have many a times gone to an interview and not done my research. How did you overcome that? To be honest, let me leave the question up there. To be honest, it's very, very difficult to do that because you'll find that you're waffling a lot, and then it's like you go like here, then you come back, then you go here, then you come back, then you go here, then you come back. So it's difficult. I think how I've always overcome it is coming from a place of service, really like humbling myself and being almost like turning it around to them, like, what is it that you need? How can I help you? Like this role, I believe I could do this. I believe I could do that. So I go into selling my strengths and going into the things that I know, instead of trying to veer off and go somewhere else to things I don't know. If you haven't done the research, stick to the things you know. You know yourself, sell yourself. If you know the role and you're familiar with the role, and if you've done it before, then really go into, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this. You could be like, I've read the job description and I understand that you can do this and you can do that. And then you want to give those experiences and those examples, and matching the two as a way of, almost selling familiarity to the hiring manager, and letting them see, okay, well, he's done it before. He seems very confident. He seems quite sure of himself. And yeah, like we can invite him back for a second interview, or, we can shortlist him. And that's kind of how I would, and how I've done it in the past. But it's not a good way to go, because it's almost like you're trying to get into, instead of really scaling and going high, you're like scraping, you're like crawling in through the gates. You want to be racing in there. So that's kind of how I would sell it. But, try not to do that, because that's not great at all. Trust me. It's not. But thanks for the question, Aussie 10. And Peter, thank you for the questions. Are there any other questions that around these things? Again, I will be going and talking about other different interview questions. Thank you, man. Gracias. Yeah, if there's any more interview questions that you need, then please do pop it in. But I think I've covered all the things in regards to these 5 questions. I am going to come up with some other questions. Maybe I should come up with my 5 hardest questions. That's what I'm going to do. Next week, I'm going to come up with my 5 hardest questions that I've ever been asked at an interview. And I'll share how to overcome that, because that's probably good. As these ones are the 5 most common, I'm going to go for the 5 hardest questions. That's actually got me excited. But if there are no other questions, I would like to thank each and every single one of you guys for coming. If you haven't already, you know what to do. Hit like on the hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share. Do share. As you know, I really believe I'm sharing really great content, and I want to help as much of you guys as possible. But in closing, have a fantastic evening. It is Easter, so have a fantastic Easter. It's Resurrection Sunday, so you know what it is. And having some good time off. Really replenish yourself, and I will catch you all back here next Wednesday, 7 o'clock, with my 5 hardest interview questions. Thank you so much, guys. Good night, and God bless. Ooh. Okay, I've seen it. Thank you. where can you find out more about more on the Star Tech? I will. I mean, I can. I mean, you can Google it. You can Google it. There's so much on the Star Technique. Let me follow up your question. Yeah, you can Google it because there is so much on it on there. But again, it's really simple: situation, task, action, research. Result. Which is really simple to remember. And then you could just literally just follow those steps. We literally follow it to the T, and it always works. Always works. And it's just really safe haven for you when answering questions. Otherwise, you can get thrown off and you can lose yourself if you haven't prepared. So do make use of that. But yeah, R Osai 10, please. Yes, Google and prepare, and yeah, just research. It's all there for you on Google. I probably should do a video on it. Maybe I could do a quick video on it, maybe like a 5-minute video that I could just throw in on the YouTube, so people could just go on it at any time. Not like a live video, but just like a video that's just there for people's use, so they can go and just reference it. It's probably a good idea. Thank you. I probably will do that maybe at some point this weekend. So yeah, I think that's it. Okay, cool. You never heard of it? Okay, well, we're all learning. I'm learning from you guys. You guys are learning from me, and it's just a community, and we'll continue to build and move forward as we move towards our careers and our own endeavors. That we will all be successful in due time. Not everyone knows it all, but it's good that we're all learning. So that is good. But if there isn't any more, then I will leave it there. But yes, thank you all again. Have a good Easter. Have a fantastic week. Like, subscribe, share. You know what to do all three. Follow us on Vice Versa Talent if you haven't already. And yeah, next week, guys, 7 p.m. You know what it is. Holla.